Greetings and welcome to another episode of SPCA Stories. If you are new to us, welcome. If you've been here before, welcome back. I'm Dawn Fenton, SPCA Monterey County Content and Education Manager. We are coming to you from the SPCA Monterey County Claire Jacobson Learning Center in beautiful Salinas, California. When disaster strikes, people often just have minutes to make life-changing decisions, what to grab, where to go, and how to keep their families safe. For many of us, our animals are family. But what happens when pets, livestock, and wildlife are caught in the middle of an emergency? Here in Monterey County, there's a team trained and ready to help. From evacuations and large animal rescues to sheltering and reunification, our teams work alongside emergency responders to protect animals when they need it most. This time on SPCA Stories, we're talking about disaster preparedness, what it takes to rescue animals during emergencies, how our teams train for these critical moments, and what every pet owner can do now to make sure their animals are safe if disaster strikes. Joining me is Rosanna Isely, our Vice President of Operations, who leads these life-saving efforts and ensures our teams are always ready to respond. Let's dive in. So I am here with Rosanna Isely. She is our VP of Operations, and we've met her before. Go back and look at Season 1. You will find her interview. We're going to talk a little bit today about disaster preparedness and SPCA Monterey County's role in that. So hello, Rosanna.
Hello, Dawn.
How are you?
I'm doing all right. Thanks for having you.
Great. I'm really happy to have you here today. And of course, this is a really important topic and one of the important things that we do for our county that not a lot of people always know about. So yeah, let's talk about it. So I have some questions for you.
Fantastic.
So to start, can you explain SPCA Monterey County's role during disasters?
Sure. So we are the Animal Services branch of the Emergency Operations Center, also known as the EOC. So we work very closely with the County Department of Emergency Management. And our role is to help people that are evacuating to either house their pets or, if needed, helping them evacuate their actual animals, and then providing supplies as well as sometimes holding those pets for the length of the disaster if people aren't able to get home and can't take their pet with you. It's a very mini-sized version of what we do, but it's overall just providing support to animals during disasters so that their humans can get help as well.
Fantastic. So, and yes, we know that every disaster is not cookie cutter.
Yeah.
So they're all a little bit different. So we probably have to attack those, depending on what's happening. So when a disaster strikes, whether it's wildfire, flooding, or something else, another kind of emergency, so what happens behind the scenes?
Lots of things.
Yeah, it's a big question.
The first thing that happens is usually someone who is bringing up the EOC to whatever stage. There's different stages depending on what's going on. There's a certain stage at which they activate what's called the Mass Care and Shelter Unit. And so that's human and animal for Monterey County. And they will call and say, hey, something's going on. Usually something to the extent of, we're not sure how bad this is going to get, but want you to be prepared that this place is being evacuated. And our job at that point is to prep everything, get our team ready and on, because we have to get usually trailers hooked up and vehicles ready, have people, especially because inevitably it's 4:00 on a Friday night, see who can work late or who may be able to be on call. And then either wait until we get that first call that kind of pushes us into action, or we're setting up an evacuation shelter next to the human evacuation shelter so that when people start coming in with their animals, we are prepared to take them. It's a lot of phone calls. It's a lot of talking. It's a lot of trying to whittle down through the mass chaos of what a disaster is to figure out where we can be the most helpful.
Again, because it's not cookie cutter, and disasters strike at any time. They don't schedule themselves, right?
Amen.
So it could be 1 a.m, it could be 2 p.m. So we all kind of spring into action depending on what's needed. And so EOC, just to clarify, that is Emergency Operations Center.
Yes, that is correct. And anyone who works in disaster land, the multitude of acronyms is impressive.
Yes. Can you share a memorable rescue or disaster response that really shows the importance of having trained animal rescue teams?
So we train to the best of our ability, but we find that those training techniques sometimes are used for things we haven't necessarily trained for, but we have the basis of knowledge to be able to respond. So we worked a fire where a young bull got out. Basically all the fencing burned down around his enclosure, and he was kind of just wandering through the neighborhood. Wasn't necessarily in imminent danger at that point from the fire, but we obviously didn't want him wandering anywhere that he didn't need to be. We've practiced a lot with horses. I can't even tell you how many llamas we've evacuated or alpacas, but ironically enough, not that many cows. But we were able to pull together a team that had all worked with livestock and large animals and had our trailer set up and ready, and were able to work actually with several firefighters that were on scene to get this very stubborn bull from the field that he was currently in down into our trailer. And having people who can communicate well, who are able to read animal signals or honestly read other human signals in terms of having worked enough that they know, okay, he's going left, I gotta go right. Or this isn't working, let's try and change tactics and not have anyone get fired up or offended. And just to be able to kind of move seamlessly like that really allows our team to be able to respond well. We did get him into the trailer. He was not happy about it, but it's always so great for moments like that to watch our team in action, because it really sees why we train and why we do all the things we do to make that effort work.
Yeah. So in those terms also, I mean, I know knowing animal behavior and doing that kind of training, I would have to imagine that animals in distress probably behave even more differently than. So all that training probably helps, with the evacuation situation.
It's you're working with animals who this is their worst day. Either their humans are gone or something's on fire, which of course causes any animal, including humans, to have that fear response.
Mm-hmm.
And you're trying to talk them into doing something that maybe they've never done or they do all the time, but you're adding all these additional stressors to it. So you really have to have staff that are, or I should say a team, because it's not all staff. You really have to have a team that knows those tactics, that they're able to use them in these environments where everyone is really stressed.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So also in that vein, so what are some of the biggest challenges the team faces when rescuing animals during an emergency?
Probably, I would say the biggest one just in general is the first 24 to 48 hours of emergency are just that. It is an emergency. And there's so many places that we may not be able to get. We need to allow fire and law to get in there and figure out what's going on. Let them have their plan of attack. So when we have people who call because they can't get their animals out, because maybe their animals aren't trailer trained, maybe they don't have a trailer, maybe they have too many animals for the space that they have to get things out, and we have to tell them that we can't go in yet because it's not safe.
Mm-hmm.
Having people who have animals that are trained, or even just having a crate for your cat so that you can shove your cat in it and get them out, really makes such a huge difference for this response. Because if we can get the animals out, we'll find somewhere to put them. I will find a corner somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
If we're full up, I tell people that all the time. If you can get it out, I'll find somewhere to put it. But it's so frustrating for us as well to not be able to go in that initial response. But
Absolutely.
we have to make sure that it is safe for everyone, because if we get first responders down, then we can't rescue anything.
Be
So really having animals that are owners that are prepared and ready and can help get that piece going really helps us be more successful.
And we can't just go in willy-nilly.
We can't. No,
so we need to respect
yes.
the other first responders the fire and the law people and all, and we can't just self-deploy into their territory.
Correct. We have to be very mindful of what's going on. We are constantly speaking with the powers that be in terms of who is in there. So we know what's going on. We know what the situation is. I think sometimes people don't realize, again, all that behind the scenes stuff that we're doing to be prepared to go in. And that's for any first responder agency, whether that be Department of Social Services, American Red Cross, the Sheriff's Department, fire. Everyone knows that there are certain things we have to do to be able to make sure that everyone can be safe and successful. So with animals, especially when you're looking at moving trailers and other large things on roads, there's a lot of things we have to take into account.
So how do our teams stay trained and ready?
So our initial response team is always almost our humane investigations department. They tend to do our deployments either in county or out of county, so they have the most experience. They train, well, quite literally, they train every day, but they do trainings once a month or once a week, depending on the skill set, to try and keep themselves up to date. We do a lot of webinars. We do a lot of trainings with other members of departments in the SPCA to just keep everyone on the top of their toes. And honestly, working here, we train every day. You're watching dogs or cats in stressful situations, or they're out in the field looking at a horse or a donkey. Wildlife is dealing with animals that are injured or hurt or caught in netting or fences, and all of that is training them for when we have to respond during a fire or a flood.
So what are the most important things pet owners should do now to prepare their animals for a disaster?
My favorite question.
I figured that would be.
So for pet owners, the most important thing is just like you have your own emergency supplies. You have to be prepared for your animal. If it's going to be hard to find you clean underwear, it's going to be hard to find then maybe a dish or a leash or something like that. So having a little go kit for your animal with a minimum of 72 hours of supplies. So food, water, any medications, keeping extra medications, or even keeping the medications that they're on just in one place so that you can just grab everything. You know, that all the dog stuff lives here, or all your bunny stuff is in this container. All of that in that prime moment, especially if it's not, you don't have any warning. It's a fire is coming down the hill and you have to go. Being able to know that you can just grab all that, just like your important documents.
Right.
Have something easy to go and then scoop your animal up and be able to run out. And honestly, if you need a leash, if you need a bowl, if you need a blanket or a dog bed, those are all things that we, as part of our disaster response, can absolutely supply you with. But it also may take us a little while to get to you or for you to get to us. But if your dog's on a special diet, especially, again, those medications, making sure your animal is microchipped so that if, God forbid, they do get away from you, they're able to get reunited with you, making sure that information is up to date. All of that can be absolutely essential when you have to go.
So what are some common mistakes people make when it comes to a disaster with their pets?
I think it's not taking them with you. It's hard to be told that your life is changing so drastically in that moment. And it's certainly people who think they're going to be able to come back home and get them, or it'll just be for a minute, or they're not sure how to do it. And so it's no one's fault. It's no one's doing it on purpose. And we talk to people all the time that are devastated that they didn't grab this or that. Or, they left water and food, but now they can't go home for 10 days.
Yes.
They're setting their animal up in a way that they think will keep them safe. But depending on what's happening, she's an evil mistress. And you don't know what's going to happen. So I think the number one thing that I really try to impress upon anyone when we do community presentations is take your animal with you. We'll find somewhere to put it. We'll help you find somewhere that you can be with it. But if you can get it out, that makes everyone so much more successful in these endeavors.
And I think that's one of the first things we have on our disaster preparedness pages. On our website, everyone, we have an extensive, it's beautiful, a section just dedicated to disasters and disaster preparedness. So please check it out. Go to spcamc.org and you'll find the little icon thingy for disasters, and you can read all about it. But that's one of the first things we say is take your pets with you.
And I think the other thing is having a place to go. We, on our website as well, amongst our disaster supplies, have the pet-friendly hotel and motel list. So that's updated every couple of years in Monterey County. It's every pet-friendly hotel in the county. So there's a place you can go with your animal, if you obviously have an animal that you're able to do that with. They won't take any horses, anything like
yes,
that.
That's true.
But talking to friends, if you know, we will happily transport your horse from your place to somebody else's place, if that's what you need in order to help out or be able to hold at our evacuation center until there's somewhere else you can go. But having a plan for where to be and where to go, if God forbid this happens, is essential. And nobody wants to think about it. It's a terrifying thing to think that you have to leave your home. And actually, most of us here have done it in one way or another, even if that home was the SPCA, which we had to evacuate.
Yes.
No one wants it to happen, but it will happen at some point. So the more prepared you can be, the more thought you have put into it, honestly, will help you that day, and certainly helps us.
And so speaking about help, we work with the Red Cross pretty closely. So thinking about places that you need to go or that you could go, we are hooked up with the Red Cross, and they're wonderful about communicating with us where they're setting up a shelter and whether or not they can have pets there and whatnot. So that's also something to keep in mind. So check out the Red Cross's website as well to see how, just to get yourself up to speed on what you can do with them as well.
And they have great preparedness stuff for families, for access and functional needs, as does our county website. There's lots of really great areas that you can look at to just get a little bit of help to get started.
Yeah, absolutely. So during large disasters, so our team, there's all kinds of pets out there, and we've already talked about on this podcast how vast and interesting and different our landscape is here in Monterey County. So we're not just a big city, or we're not just countryside. So we've got pets like dogs, cats, your house pets, but we also have a lot of other types of animals that people own, livestock.
So much livestock. So many chickens.
Oh, chickens. Yes, chickens, of course. Of course, yes. Lots of chickens, lots of livestock, and wildlife as well. How do you coordinate when we have a situation that is so complex that it affects every type of animal? In one sentence. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. It's a big job. That's the one sentence. It is truly remarkable, this team and this place and what we can do. And, every time we have a disaster, I am reminded how phenomenal and well-trained the people who work here are. And people jumping up from other departments that have maybe never touched a pig or a horse or a goat, but they can help block things or ferry things, or sometimes even just picking things up and putting them in a car. But talking to people who are having the worst day of their lives, and all of those skills this team just exudes. It's amazing. And doing that response, having, a side that the domestic animals are being housed on, having a large animal evacuation center, which can be anything from horses and donkeys to, like I said, chickens. There's always so many chickens whenever we do an evacuation, and ducks and geese and all of that. They all have such specialized housing and things that they need. And when we do that, you've been in my office during a disaster.
Oh, yes,
I have giant Post-it pieces of paper everywhere with people to call and things that we're doing in addition to our field services. It is a multi-armed beast that I could not do without the support of everyone here. There's just no way. And I am lucky I get to be the conductor, which is amazing and certainly carries a lot of weight. But it is impossible to do without a team that supports you. And that is one of the most amazing things about being here.
Well, you're a fantastic conductor.
Oh, thank you.
And yes, and every situation is absolutely different. I know that during the Carmel River fire, when we had to evacuate our campus, this is the campus where all the animals were being held safely, and they were safe. We had to evacuate just out of an abundance of caution. And we ended up going to was it the fairgrounds?
Yes.
Where we moved?
Monterey County
So
Fairgrounds.
we should give a shout out to a lot of local organizations who are willing to help us.
Absolutely.
So the fairgrounds, basically, I mean, didn't we have geese in a bathroom?
We had animals. God bless them. We had animals everywhere. And we are so lucky to be able to have several agencies throughout the county that I can call up and be like, hey, this is happening.
Mm-hmm.
Can we come? And they're just so supportive and so amazing. And we'll have their people out there helping us set up horse enclosures and making chicken coops and all of these things. The Monterey County Fairgrounds, we certainly use and abuse and have always been fantastic.
Yeah, they've been wonderful.
And definite shout out to them in terms of helping support us and our county in helping support us, because I've certainly talked to some agencies that have a harder time when you're trying to find a place that will take animals and trying to find something that gives you enough space. And, animal welfare people are scrappy. We can make it work.
Yes, we can. Yes, we can. And I know that too. Because everything is, like the word emergency, it just conjures up an image in your mind. So we're asking for help from these different places, but we need it now.
Yes.
So it's amazing the kind of the community buy-in and the community, yes, how can we help you? That's pretty incredible.
It is. And and we get that from the people that we respond with as well. People are so great about, hey, we're coming, but we can't be there for 2 hours. Is there anything you can figure out before then? We've certainly had to make really hard calls, some fires where, we talk to people about trying to get out when there is a warning versus a mandatory. So when you're evacuating, you have an evacuation warning, or it's a mandatory evacuation zone. And a lot of times we're certainly telling people with large animals, when you hit a warning, get out.
Yeah, go.
Pack everything
Don't
up
wait.
And go. And we've certainly had hard times where we have had to make the call that we need you to get out. We need you to try and find a place to go, because we're trying so hard to get the evacuation orders out, those mandatory orders to get those people out, knowing that people are being proactive and they're being great. And the problem is, of course, we just have to triage, just like any agency, and get the ones that have to be out because they are in imminent danger. And then be able to come back to the other people and say, I'm so sorry, were you able to find any place to go? No. Okay, great. This is where I can have you be. It's really just such a game of Jenga.
Yes, it is. And it's everything from large scale disasters like we're talking about now to the smaller scale. Like just a few days ago, we had a very sad apartment complex fire, and a handful of their people that were displaced had pets.
Yep.
So in that situation, we were able to help them by, first of all, going back to the complex and seeing if there were any animals that were still there, but also just delivering supplies to their evacuation center. Sometimes it's as, dare I say, simple compared to a big,
I think so.
giant situation like we were just talking about. So we help wherever we can, and whatever size. It doesn't matter if it's a big one or a small one. We're gonna piece it together.
Absolutely.
So.
And we can help you prepare. If you need a crate for your cat and you just can't right now for whatever reason, or the one you have is so beaten down that you're not sure it'll hold your cat or your bird or your whatever, you can always come over here and ask. You can always ask for me. I'm the only Rosanna here. And we can make sure that we can get you something to contain your animal so that you are able to evacuate when you need to go. When you have fires like the apartment fire that we were talking about, that is something that happens in the blink of an eye. You just have to go. So a lot of times all you can do is grab your dog or your cat or your bird or whatever. We are an agency that can help support you in that.
So, what role do volunteers in the community play in helping animals during emergencies?
Our volunteers here are enmeshed in all sorts of different things. So it's helping give support to owners. It might be escorting them back to visit their animals that we're keeping in as emergency boarding. It might be walking dogs or helping cats have somebody just to curl up with or even sit in the room with. We're also growing our volunteer team to be more involved in our disaster response, to assist our staff. So we're looking at volunteers that want to work at an evacuation shelter and help answer community questions or bring in animals. You do have to be an existing volunteer for any of that to happen. We need people who are familiar with what we do, the campus, the lay of the land. There's something in disasters called spontaneous volunteers, which are people who are, in the moment, so want to help and so want to be there and be boots on the ground, which is fantastic. But sometimes it can be hard you can't train someone on the spot as easily as having someone who already knows how to go out this door and in that door. So we really try to get everyone trained before so that we're able to have the most help in that instance. The community helps support us in so many ways. Donations, gosh, whenever we have a disaster, the donations are just phenomenal. There's a lot.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
But, monetary donations, of course, because that allows us to get what we need, but also preparing and being ready. We have a ton of Firewise communities in this county. I hear about more and more every day, which is amazing. We will come and we will do a presentation for you. We will talk to you about what you can do for your animals and how we can support you as well if a disaster happens. And anyone who wants us to come, I was actually just connected with a new group recently that I'm hoping to go out and talk to in the next few months so that we can all plan and we can all be ready. And that community, while it doesn't seem that it's necessarily important in that moment, that prep work actually makes you so much more valuable.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And with donations, one of the things that I recommend people do, everyone wants to help and it's that desire is so appreciated. But with donations, you may want to go to the website and see what they're needing, because sometimes it might not just be money.
Checking our website to see what we are in need of in the moment is really helpful because that will change from day 1 to day 4 to day 10.
Right.
We may have had enough crates and blankets for the first initial 4 or 5 days and don't have the storage to put them anywhere. But come day 10 or 12, suddenly we're finding that we're running short on towels, we're running short on leashes or whatever it is. So really keeping an eye on the thermometer that is our website to see what is being asked for is a huge help to us.
So what does it mean to pet owners when our team is able to rescue their animals during a disaster?
It's, life-changing, I think, for them and quite frankly for us. It's to know that your animal is going to be safe. I think when you hear people and sometimes, especially people who don't know that that's even a service that is provided. And I've worked many, many deployments outside of our county in other areas where people just can't, they can't express how amazing it is to find that family member is safe. It hits you right in the heart.
Yeah, I was in our lobby during one of our fires, and a gentleman came in because we had his cat. And I guess he must have been microchipped. The cat was microchipped, and so we called his owner. And this man came in, and he was so grateful. And he made a donation, which we, of course, we don't charge for that boarding. So he did not have to do that, but I think he gave us $100. And he said, "I just didn't think anyone would care about my cat. Thank you so much." So that was really very, very powerful. And, with that message, we absolutely care. That's why we're here.
Yeah.
So yeah, it hits you.
Well, and this you may have to cut out because I might not actually make it through this story.
Oh, well, that means it's staying in. You know that.
So we responded as a mutual aid call to a fire out of county, and we were out. It was a fire that had hit very quickly. It was a spark from a car on the freeway, lit the side of the road on fire, and literally just, pardon the phrase, spread like wildfire. I mean, just brutalized this community. And we were coming in to help, and we're quite literally just driving around picking up animals because we couldn't even get to the point to like go to people's houses to try and help evacuate. At that point, we were just getting anything that was out and moving so that the firefighters could help and could get in there to extinguish. And then, of course, as the day went on, it got more well established in terms of us being able to start being like, okay, I left this here. We can go to that house and check. We were coming back with a full carload. And there was this dog running down the street. We pulled over. It came running up to us, super happy, jumped into the cab of the car, and the seat of the person who was in my passenger seat was in their lap because we didn't have any other room. And we drove to the animal shelter to drop all these animals off, which is what we were doing at the time. And then they were ferrying them out to the different evacuation centers. So we pull up. See, I told you. And the dog jumped out of the car, and the woman who was working at the shelter, it was her dog. And her house, and I never found out if her house burned down or not, but it was certainly in the burn zone. And she had been working and she was saving all these other people's animals, and she couldn't get home.
Oh my gosh.
So she thought that it had, that she didn't think it had made it. I don't know if it busted out a window. Or I don't know how it got out. But that moment, I mean, everybody was in tears.
Oh my gosh.
The dog was ecstatic. She was ecstatic. We were all crying. Because,
Wow.
she didn't know. She didn't know what had happened. And we literally, she kept thanking us. And we had literally just found it as a fluke. Like, this dog had just been running down the street and he was so happy. And like that moment, that I will never forget.
So if there's one thing you want every pet owner who's listening to us, to this podcast, to do today to better protect their animals, what would that be?
Get a kit. Get a kit together. Put some food in a big Ziploc bag. Or like I said, what I do is my animals have their food in little bins, and then I keep the larger amount downstairs. But I have a little bin that has all their food that it holds, 2 weeks worth of food probably. Next to it, I have another bin that has all their medications, extra leashes, water bowls, their vet records, poop bags, just all the things that we as dog owners keep. We all know we find poop bags everywhere, but when you need one, you can never find one.
Of course.
And then that way, all I have to do is open the door of my closet, grab those two things, and we can go. We know that your animals mean everything to you. That's why we work here. That's why you have them, quite frankly. So I know that everyone wants to protect those pets. And in that moment where you have to make terrible decisions, that doesn't have to be one of them. Just pick them up and take them with you. Grab their stuff if you got time.
Throw the kit in the car and go.
Have a kit in the car. Like there's so many ways you can kind of figure out what works best for you. There's so many options when it comes to emergency preparedness. So do what you can to make yourself feel okay about it, and then hope to God you never have to use it. I hope you never have to use it.
Absolutely. And on our website, in that disaster section, I know that we have, you guys, it's huge. It's like we have every animal.
It's so big.
Yes. It's
so big.
It might take you a while to wade through it, but it's worth it because we have lists of things that you're going to need for, I think, just about every kind of pet.
Yes.
On that. So horses, I think goldfish even.
Yep. We have a small pet section. We've got stuff for your reptiles and your birds, your livestock, horses, dogs, cats, bunnies.
Yeah.
You
So
pick it.
SPCAMC.org. Please check it out. Please, look through it. You don't even have to live in this county.
You don't.
It's all the same information that you're going to want to have just in case you need to get out quickly. So How can community members support SPCA Monterey County's disaster preparedness efforts?
Other than being prepared and talking to people about being prepared. Any groups that you have, any, areas, especially like if you have a CERT team in your area and you can call and talk to them and see what they've done to prepare, they probably have great information for you. Your local law enforcement, local fire will have great information.
Mm-hmm.
As Dawn's mentioned, our website is full of great stuff. But being ready, talking to people about being ready. I mean, I think any of us who lived here in 2020 would never have imagined the Carmel River and Dolan fires the way that they did.
Yeah, it was huge.
The way it happened, how long it lasted. I mean, I can say that honestly about most of the fires I've worked here when they grow in that big scope. But know that it is a possibility.
Mm-hmm.
I wish that it wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
I wish that fires were getting smaller and less intense and floods were getting less often. Unfortunately, that's not the way it's been working. So we know it's going to happen. So the more you can do to be ready for that, the better.
I also, if anyone's listening who doesn't live in Monterey County, who, is part of a animal welfare organization or wants more information, please contact us.
Absolutely.
We've done all kinds of we've been through so many different floods.
More than I care to admit.
Yes, yeah. I mean, we would be here all day if we listed all the things that we've helped on. But if you want information or tips or suggestions, or if you have something going on with your organization that you think we could benefit from, please contact us. We would love to chat with you about how you prepare your community. So, I mean, we're all in this together.
Yep,
so
we have to be.
Mm-hmm. So when disaster strikes, what motivates you and our team to keep going even in the toughest situations?
I think it's knowing that we can help with that one house, that one animal, that one place. We are, quite frankly, very lucky to be able to do what we do, to have the time and the experience under our belts that we do, to have the agencies that we work with be so great with us, responding and working so well with us, and helping that house, helping get that cat back that, no one was sure where it was, helping get a bird out of a house. It sometimes seems small, but to that person, it means everything.
Thank you so much for your time and for all of the important work that you and the team does every day. But of course, also when, things go south and we have a disaster, I just know that you are appreciated and the team is appreciated. And thank you so much.
Well, and a big shout out, and I mean that sincerely, to every single person who works here, and to you, as you are my co-partner in a lot of these things. But the people and how much they care in everything they do here, and how that shows, when the worst happens, how it pulls together and we really shine. I can't express my thanks enough to everyone who helps with that.
Thank you all for tuning in. A tremendous thank you to all SPCA staff, volunteers, and board of directors, and of course to our generous supporters. Nothing that you heard about here is possible without you. As we wrap up this conversation, one thing is clear. Disasters can happen at any time, but preparation can make all the difference for people and for animals. Taking a few simple steps now, like creating a disaster plan, preparing an emergency kit for your pets, and making sure your animals are microchipped and have proper identification, can help ensure that everyone in your family stays safe if the unexpected happens. Here at SPCA Monterey County, our teams train year-round to be ready when our community needs us most. From rescuing animals during wildfires and floods to providing emergency shelter and reunifying pets with their families, this work is only possible because of the support of people who care deeply about animals, and that is you. If today's episode inspired you, we encourage you to take a moment to prepare your own pets for emergencies and to support the life-saving work that makes these rescues possible. If you have questions about anything discussed today, email me at dfenton@spcamc.org. You can find more information about all of our programs and services, including how to prepare for a disaster at spcamc.org. As always, if you like what you hear, please drop a like or give us a rating on whatever platform you listen in on. Those ratings help us reach more animal lovers. I'm Dawn Fenton, signing off until next time. Much unconditional love to you and your pets from us here at SPCA Monterey County.